Robert Literally from Street Combat Training. We've had some questions about some things that were in the manual, for the first program, the top 10 unarmed street attacks. It's on the website in the member section. Try and get a copy of that. For those who have some questions, we're going to cover some of the most important things that we discussed in there. Today I want to show you the bulletproof drill. It's really simple and it is essential to good, safe training and being able to use this material. Let's reiterate quickly the whole defensive concept here. Remember, punches are only dangerous if they have the space to operate. So while most martial arts have some kind of paradigm where we're supposed to stay in this area and throw punches back or bob and weave and throw strikes, that makes combat basically a game. It's a game of can he hit me and can I hit him, and we play a game back and forth. It can be a dangerous game, it could be a full contact game, but it's a game nonetheless. And in the middle of a serious self-defense encounter, you don't want to play a game with the guy, so we need to change the rules. If his idea is he's going to hit me, my idea is I need to stop him. I need to get to a position where I can stop him. So what do all his punches have in common? If he throws a jab, I need one block for here. He throws a hook, I need another block for here. He throws an uppercut, I need a block for here. But what all these punches have in common is they need this space. So instead of learning 13 different blocks for 13 different punches, we're going to have one defensive motion, which is to clinch the guy, which is to move in and get through the danger zone. So the danger zone extends to the length of his longest punch, something like the jab. All right, so the basic defensive premise is really simple. I want to be too far away for the guy to punch me, and I want to be too close for him to punch me. This is where our clinching and 5 sword skills are used as we outlined in that first course. Now, in order to do this effectively under real-world conditions, you have to feel the confidence that you can get through this danger zone. This is the simplest, but also on some levels the most difficult part about jiu-jitsu training is the idea of getting through this danger zone. It seems counterintuitive to people, especially when you live in a culture where we all grow up watching boxing, watching karate, or doing karate, doing martial arts, where we're taught to stand in here and punch back. Again, it makes a game out of it. So, what is the purpose of the bulletproof drill? Number one, to make me psychologically and physically capable of understanding that he's not going to hurt me with those punches if I keep certain defensive things in place. The first one is my chin and shoulders and head. So when he starts throwing the punches, I can drill this by letting him hit my head. Aim for my head face a little bit, and I can put my head down. Aim, okay? There we go. Now he's not the best partner to do this with because he's actually shorter than I am, so I have to get real low. But if you're attacked by a taller guy, it's pretty basic. The punches are going to be coming down at this angle. So by putting your chin down and your shoulders up, the first thing you want to understand is that if he hits you in the head, it's really not that big a deal. By head, I mean everything above your hairline. The top of your skull here is literally the thickest bone in your body. So we talk about getting punched in the head, but really, we're talking about getting hit in the lower part of your head. As you move down your bone structure here, it becomes dangerous along the jawline, getting punched in the throat. It's soft, it's not much fun. Hit the nose, broken, it can hurt your breathing, but if you get hit in here, it can break your jaw and knock you up. As you move up, cheekbone's not much fun. It may not be a fight stopper. As you go higher up here, you're actually basically invulnerable. This part of your head is literally invulnerable to hand punches unless he's hurt to this, okay? So this is all tied again to our flinch reflex. Going like this exposes the soft parts. Going like this hides them. So the first idea is let him punch at you relatively softly and get used to putting your shoulders up. Use my shoulders and just my head to get in against punches. I'm not saying you should do it this way. I'm just saying it's possible, you know? So you're sitting here outdoors, maybe his buddies come and run and they grab your hands, for example. The guy winds up to punch you. What are you going to do? But I got to put my head down, make sure he's punching here. That's level one. As long as he's not punching too hard, because if you make a mistake, you're going to take it on the soft part. Wear a mouth guard. Keep your mouth closed as tight as possible. Put your tongue against the roof of your mouth and clamp everything together. I can't do that when I'm speaking, but that's what we're going to do. So that's the first part of this bulletproof drill, is getting used to not sticking your chin up. So I'm standing here naturally, starts punching. Now again, so imagine he's a taller guy. I don't have to bend my legs that much. It's going to be intuitive. So I'm standing here, he starts to punch me. Boom. You see how that one went right over my head because of the level change, okay? That's step number one. Step number two then is we add the framing or shelling up. This is really, really simple. It's instinctive because of the flinch response. When he startles me, this is probably going to happen. I'm going to drop my weight, and my shoulders are going to come up, and my hands are going to come up like this. We've all seen it. It's hardwired. So if I'm able to key into that hardwired flinch, I just exaggerate it. So when he startles me, my hands come all the way up until they feel that they're grabbing my head. My chin comes down, shoulders come up. Okay? Then we get used to this frame, this shell. It should make us feel very confident that at some point I'm laughing at the guy. His punches are a joke. And I go like this, and he starts throwing punches at me. It's really hard for the guy to get through. Okay? And if he's throwing straight punches like his, he's hitting my elbow most of the time. Okay? Now, the drill is just that. It's a drill. I don't want to stay here in the danger zone and block multiple punches. But this is the first step. If I want the confidence to just go right through and pounce on him, I need to know that my head is protected during that process. The way I was taught this in the old days by really high members of the Gracie family, you know, it was more based on timing. We weren't using our arms very effectively, and if you knew the guy was there and you trained it hard, you took the punches, you could rely just on timing sometimes to get through those punches. It was difficult, and under surprise conditions, when your head is turned, you're talking to one guy, someone's going to suck a punch, you're at the bar having a drink here, and the attack is coming here. I can't rely just on timing because I can't see where his hands are. I don't know where he is exactly, but I do know what his target is. It's always going to be the head. If he's going to punch me in the body, it's almost impossible for him to take you out with a blow to the body. I've seen hundreds and hundreds, and if we include video research, probably thousands of real-world fights. And I can probably count on one hand the number of body blows I've seen. People want to try and injure you and knock you as quickly as possible, so you're pretty much guaranteed it's going to be a head blow. So this kind of action, when he starts his attack, whatever punch he throws, I shell up and I pounce in. Okay? So the bulletproof drill, let's now get to the complete idea of the drill. Number one, shoulders up, chin down. Number two, framing the head. Your hands never come off your head. That's the point of reference. Some of the schools are modernizing their curriculum and they're teaching stuff like this. So he starts punching, and you see people trying to enter like this. It can work, but in reality, when he starts throwing those punches really hard, this happens. Okay? The block gets knocked away, and the next punch hits you, and in the middle of the chaos, you don't know where your arms are. I've seen this again and again. We were taught that way at certain schools, experimented with it, and it can work. Everything goes well. The timing, once again, is perfect, but in the real world, timing is not perfect. So when I actually attach my hands to my head, I know where my hands are. I can feel where they are. Anytime that hand comes off, it's a much easier thing to understand than in the middle of multiple strikes, wondering, oh man, the punch just looked this way, is that a punch, or got my hand in it? Seems like a simple thing, but it's more difficult. So, reiterate. Chin down, shoulders up, hands in place. Now, a really important thing that's neglected is your base. Don't forget your base. If I stand here like this, with my feet close together, and he starts throwing punches, even if I'm defending properly and not getting hit because my frame's in place, my shell, I'm still getting knocked off balance and I won't be able to enter because my base isn't wide enough. I'm getting buffeted around and being moved. So everything gets back to that first principle. And what is that first principle? Balance. I have to be able to keep myself in a state of balance. So I'm going to use a wide stance, basically an MMA stance or even a karate-like stance. The difference is I use shuffle stepping. This kind of thing will allow you to push off hard off your back leg. All right, so this happens quickly. He throws a punch and boom, I step into this position and I frame up. That's what we're leading to. The drill is simply having him throw the punches and be able to concentrate on what he's doing, being able to feel safe here. He starts moving in, I clinch it. So trying to use any other kind of blocking motion, you can see how slow this is. I'm not going to sit here trying to block punches. If I'm really, really good, maybe I can get away with it, but I need to back up, I need to move laterally, things like that. In order to go through punches, I need to have this. So he starts punching, I can walk right through him. I have no fear of those punches. And he's got gloves on. Imagine if he's punching me with bare hands. Crap, there's, punch hard. Yeah, not much fun, is it? Okay, he's going to bust his hands. Now, not every punch is going to hit your elbows, and remember, straight punches are fairly rare. So he has to start with straight punches because that's the longest range. Now he starts throwing the winging his punches. Boom, that's when I move in. And we get to our 5-sword position, which we talked about. There's different pinches, but I want to hit the guy back because when I wet surface, I want to look like taking down and hit him here, like controlling. Okay? So the bulletproof drill is important not to back up. It's another good use of this wider stance. I can post off this back leg. So I want the confidence, number one, that his punches aren't going to hurt me if my head's not exposed. Number two, that I can move through the punches so I need not to back up. So the basic drill begins with that. He starts to throw his punches, and I get used to, throw different ones. You need to throw a roundhouse once in a while. I know that I can move through that, okay? Now, if you have a big, strong guy who's a lot heavier than you, when he's punching you even lightly, it's going to buffet you around, it's going to move you, it's going to have the tendency for you to want to move back. You can put yourself against a wall to make sure you're done. Okay, and if you find yourself moving back all the time over the pressure, you need to add this variation where you stand against a wall and he throws the punches. Okay, once you feel confident, you're not getting hurt, you're not getting hit, you now begin to pounce on him. Now, straight punches are harder to enter through because they form a barrier between the two bodies. So just like a guy pushing on me, it's hard for me to get through this, but they're much less common on the street. Now with the roundhouse punch, they can be more powerful, but they cause an opening. It's easy for me to get through the arc of that punch, relatively easy. So we need to look at those punches a little different, but you can see the idea here. Against a straight punch, when I feel hit my elbow and he pulls his hand back, that's the time to move in against him. That's one of the simplest ways to do it, okay? If he isn't trained very well or for some reason knows how to punch straight, he may not pull his arm back in a trained motion, but it's going to fall to one side or the other, or it's going to come back and it's going to loop that way. So one way or the other, he has to bring that hand back. But the most efficient way, the fastest way, is for him to piston it. So when he hits me, bang, he pulls it back. He hits me, and I follow it in. That's the first step. That's a fairly simple way that you can do against straight punch. Throws the roundhouse, you can see it's easy to move into that arc relatively, because as he makes the arc, there's a gap here. There's nothing preventing you from stepping in. You just have to drill it. So, step number one for the actual drill is I sit here and I get used to it. I get used to the punch, bang. If I punch my face, to make me don't get used to punching the elbows, yeah. And I get used to moving in, okay? Step one is feeling safe, step two is moving in and then clinching. And once you make contact, boom, we're right here in our 5 swords that we talked about. All right? Another important point is make sure, some people teach these blocks like this, you can get hit in the back of the head. So you want to make sure that your hand slides to the back of your head. We never take our hands off of our head, but they slide like this. If he's aiming with his right hand, with a big right hand, and he's going to hit me in the side of the head, go slow because I'm going to stand here with a haymaker. Yeah, boom, he's aiming for the side of my head. Okay? So as I move in, now I've punched the same spot, and I move in like this, it's possible that this is going to come around and whack me in the back of the head as I move in. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can. So I want to make sure, as he throws that big right hand, that I have the back of my head covered. Okay? The forearm covers the side of my head, and the elbow covers the front of my head. So I have the entire side of my head covered without having to think about it. I don't need to see the punch. I don't need to know what kind of punch it is. If it's a straight punch that's coming from his right hand, it has to come straight. It's going to hit my elbow. If it's a roundhouse punch, it's going to hit the side, or if I move forward, maybe the back. So with one simple arm position, I've got the entire side of my head covered. And I just do it on both sides. So when he starts to throw those punches, it's really, really simple. It's so simple that after a few hundred reps like this, you've got to start mixing it up and go to the angles. That's when it becomes difficult. What do I mean by the angles? This kind of thing, like we're talking. I'm facing, yeah, you know. I'm talking to somebody here at the bar, and the sucker punch comes this way. Sometimes I have time to turn. Sometimes I'm just going to have to move in this way. You don't know. Okay, and at some point, the moment now he stands behind me at 45. Oh, Jesus Christ! You know, you got to have some kind of inkling there's a punch coming, or you don't have any chance. But the idea that I'm going to turn like this, see where the guy is, make a decision about what kind of punch is coming, and then choose an appropriate block with that much time is just preposterous. And many, many fights, of course, deal with that. Okay? So I've given you a lot of information. Let me just break it down real quick for you again. Bulletproof drill, designed to give you the confidence to move from here to here. How do we get that confidence? By knowing that if you don't play a game with the guy, a game of you punch me and I punch you, but you're only worried about protecting your head, the vulnerable area, punching really is not an effective way to attack people. Only when people decide to punch at each other does it become viable. So if he's playing his game of, oh gee, I'm going to punch you, and I'm playing my game of, I'm going to jump on you and break your neck, it's pretty easy to see who's going to win. So when he's punching, he's going to hurt himself against my arms. Okay, chin down, shoulder up. So that's what the drill is about. So he throws different punches, boom, and I get used to it, boom. And I move in. Really simple. Okay? Do that a few times a week. First, keep your eyes on him. That's important. You know, at first you're still going to be flinching even though your hands are up. You're going to flinch one way, your hands are going to go the other. This is natural because we're not used to it. But over time, you're going to be able to keep your eyes dead on the guy. I'm going to see what it's doing through my arms. I can pick off the different punches. That's really not the purpose of the drill. What I want to start doing is feeling the rhythm between the punches so that I can move in. Okay, so that one, at that moment, I felt this hit me. I know he's got a 1, 2, 3 rhythm. So as this one made contact on my elbow, I know I can follow it back in, and this one's coming to just shed against it. These are things that are going to come simple. It's really, really simple. And then that links to your clinching skills. All right, so there is a visual tutorial on the bulletproof drill. Have fun, take it easy, probably wear a mouth guard.